This is the story of how NVIDIA went from almost bankrupt to the most important company in AI. A $5 trillion company started in a Denny's with $40,000 and an idea most people called impossible. It's late 1992. 3 engineers, exhausted, slightly underpaid, but absolutely electric with a shared idea, are sitting in a booth at a Denny's on Berryessa Road in East San Jose, California. They're eating diner food and drinking bad coffee, and they're about to change the world. Their names, Jensen Huang, Chris Malachowski, and Curtis Priam. Jensen was 30 years old, running his own division at a company called LSI Logic. Chris and Curtis had just come from Sun Microsystems and IBM. Together, they had one idea that they couldn't shake. CPUs, the central processors that run every computer, are not the future. Something else is. Born in Taiwan in 1963, he moved to Thailand as a child and was later sent to the United States at age 9, sent to live with an uncle in Tacoma, Washington. That uncle, believing he was enrolling Jensen in a prestigious school, actually put him in a rural reform school in Kentucky called the Oneida Baptist Institute, a place meant for difficult children. Jensen cleaned toilets daily and was bullied relentlessly. He was 9 years old. But resilience runs deep. Jensen eventually reunited with his family in Oregon, went to Oregon State University, earned his master's at Stanford, and landed in the heart of Silicon Valley. And when the Denny's meeting ended, he made the decision to quit his stable job and start a company with $40,000 in starting capital, and a vision that most people in the industry called an unfundable idea. They named the company NVIDIA, derived from NVIDIA, the Latin word for envy. The goal, build specialized chips that could handle 3D graphics at a speed no general-purpose CPU ever could. Not glamorous, not obvious, but to them, it was inevitable. On April 5, 1993, Jensen personally signed the Articles of Incorporation. NVIDIA was born with $600 in combined pocket change and a phone call to Sequoia Capital that almost went nowhere until a mutual connection from LSI vouched for them. Sequoia and Sutter Hill Ventures came in with $20 million. The race was on. The early years were brutal. NVIDIA's first chip, the NV1, launched in 1994 and was a commercial disaster. It used a non-standard graphics approach that the rest of the industry simply didn't adopt. Microsoft was pushing a different standard for its DirectX platform, and NVIDIA had bet wrong. The company nearly ran out of money. Jensen has spoken openly about this period. He said that if they had known how hard it would be, they probably never would have started. In 1997, NVIDIA launched the Riva 128, a graphics card engineered specifically around the industry standard that was winning. It was fast, it was cheap, and it sold over 1 million units in just 4 months. The company had found its footing. Then came 1999, a year that changed everything. NVIDIA launched the GeForce 256 and did something bold. They called it the world's first GPU, Graphics Processing Unit. This wasn't just marketing. The GeForce 256 was the first chip to move geometry calculations off the CPU and onto the graphics card itself, enabling real-time 3D rendering at a scale no one had seen before. That same year, NVIDIA went public on the NASDAQ, and when the stock eventually hit $100 per share, Jensen Huang got a tattoo of the NVIDIA logo on his left shoulder. That's not a metaphor. He literally tattooed the logo on his arm. The momentum was unstoppable. Microsoft tapped NVIDIA to build the graphics hardware for the original Xbox. Then NVIDIA acquired its biggest rival, 3DFX Interactive, in 2000, cementing its position as the undisputed king of discrete graphics. In 2006, NVIDIA made a decision that most analysts at the time called puzzling, even wasteful. They released something called CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture, a software platform that lets scientists and programmers use NVIDIA's gaming GPUs to do general-purpose computing. Why would a gaming chip company spend billions building a scientific computing platform? The market was tiny. The revenue was close to zero. But Jensen understood something that almost no one else did. 6 years later, in 2012, researchers at the University of Toronto used NVIDIA GPUs running CUDA to train a neural network called AlexNet. They didn't just win the ImageNet competition. They destroyed the competition by a margin so large that the entire AI research community stopped and took notice. Fast forward to late 2022. OpenAI releases ChatGPT. Within 2 months, it becomes the fastest-growing consumer application in history, and every tech company on the planet wakes up to the same realization. They need thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of NVIDIA GPUs. The financial results were historic. NVIDIA's revenue went from roughly $27 billion in fiscal year 2023 to $61 billion, then to $130 billion, and in fiscal year 2026, $216 billion. And more than 8 times increase in just 3 years. Now let's talk about the stock. If you had invested $10,000 in NVIDIA 10 years ago, you would have over $4.7 million today. As of April 25, 2026, NVIDIA stock closed at $208.26. Its market cap has crossed $5 trillion. From a Denny's booth with $40,000 and an unfundable idea, to a $5 trillion company that powers the AI revolution. That's NVIDIA. NVIDIA isn't just a chip company anymore. It's infrastructure. It's the electricity grid of the AI economy. Every major AI model being trained right now, every chatbot, every image generator, every autonomous system, runs on NVIDIA hardware. That's a position that took 30 years to build. And it's not going away overnight. If you found this useful, hit the like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop in the comments. Do you think NVIDIA can hold its dominance through the next 5 years? I'll see you in the next one.